Hello everybody!
Hello everybody! We are visiting the museum in Weimar, and here we are at the site of Kniegrotte, which is a very important site for the Magdalenian in central Germany.
Have fun with the video!
Das machen wir nochmal.
Welcome to Stone Age Science. We are scientists investigating information encoding from the earliest science in the Paleolithic to the modern day information age. We take you with us on our journey to museums and universities, examining the mobile artifacts in their originals to understand the signs of the Stone Age. In a separate episode, we visited the museum in Halle, and from Halle we made our way directly to Weimar. Weimar is a city in central Germany famous for classicism, so for Goethe and Schiller, but of course we are interested in prehistory. So we visited the museum for prehistory and early history in Weimar. Here our local host was Tim Schüler, who works for the State Office of Preservation in Thüringen, and he was also involved in the research on the site of Ranis, where modern humans arrived around 45,000 years ago. We also talk about the site in the video on Halle, so if you're interested, you can also watch this video. To start with, Tim gave us a tour through the museum to identify artifacts to study for Eva. And in central Germany, we are focusing here in this video on two main sites, Ehringsdorf on the one hand, which is just below Weimar, as you can see on this map, and the Kniegrotte. Ehringsdorf is a Middle Paleolithic site of Neanderthals, and the Kniegrotte an Upper Paleolithic site of the Magdalenian period and modern Homo sapiens. Ehringsdorf is famous for a skull that was found 100 years ago, and it's dated to around 230,000 years ago, so this is the early Middle Paleolithic, the early type of Neanderthals which lived there. Here you can see a reconstruction of the hominin of this site, and in this site we have the particular situation that we have different layers where remains of butchery are found, like in this breccia block, which is jokingly called a smorgasbord of the Middle Paleolithic. So we have bones of butchery, and we also have fireplaces and charcoal, as you can see here in black in the middle. However, from this time period of the Middle Paleolithic, there is very few material that carries intentional markings. So what we are looking at is the later period of the Upper Paleolithic, where you have tools and other types of artifacts. Here you have mobile artifacts made of stone and pebble, which bear intentional engravings. This is a remarkable find from the Teufelsbrücke. If you look closely, you can see two hominins which seem to be holding hands. At least that is our modern day interpretation of it. There are also animals on this artifact. On the backside of it, for instance, there is a bird and horses, which are then associated also with abstract markings. For scientific purposes, we typically want to distinguish different types of objects. But look at this object. In this case, it's a mix of a tool, like a harpoon, and on the other hand, it has iconic features of a fish, and it has abstract markings on it. So in this case, it seems clear that our modern day idea of distinguishing different kinds of categories maybe doesn't apply to the Paleolithic material.
Central Germany has many incredible objects from the Magdalenian. It has a very particular form of art. So here we see one very famous piece. It's the so-called awl. It's made from mammoth ivory, and you see here the holes are the eyes, and you see the typical pointed ears of the bird. And when we zoom in, I hope I can get a good picture, you see the entire figurine is decorated with geometric markings that partly might represent feathers. This is very finely marked. It's almost impossible to see. I tried. So that's a very particular object. Then we have this antler object that is decorated all over. You see here is a bison figurine. You see the head here, and it has this row of double points on incisions, and all over we find different type of figurative depictions and also geometric markings. I turn it around, and here you will see even more markings. Very, very, very particular.
Tim Schüler took us to the site of Ehringsdorf, which is just next to a company mining the limestone in a limestone quarry, and this is also where some of the finds come from. Tim knows the site very well because he works on the layers and the fireplaces, the dating, and in this limestone cliff you can still see some spots where bones are eroding out of the limestone and leave marks behind. This is what Tim explained to us. Like in this case, where you can see that a bone left a mold, so to speak, in the limestone. I find this fascinating because as a layperson, you would have no clue what all of these different signs, natural signs that you can read on this wall, really are trying to tell you. For instance, in the case of black layers, it might well be a fireplace, as Tim explained to us.
Man sieht hier unten zum Beispiel noch so eine alte Oberfläche, wo die Pflanzen gewachsen sind, die Halme.
Man sieht es hier, ja.
Die stehen also hier noch richtig aufrecht. Das heißt also, das ist ganz schnell gebildeter Travertin. Also eine Pflanzen, die sind ja nur über ein paar Jahre, wenn es gut geht, mal stabil über 1 oder 2 Jahre oder sowas. Das heißt, es ist hier eine wahnsinnig hohe Bildungsgeschwindigkeit. Dann sieht man hier so eine Bankfuge und dann geht es hier oben wieder genauso schnell weiter.
Und das ist jetzt, und diese Feuerstelle ist auch dann der Bereich, wo auch die Steinartefakte gefunden wurden und also drumherum natürlich und auch die Schlachtreste.
Und hier gibt es eine große Fundkonzentration. Es gibt halt wenig Fundverteilungsinformationen, weil das halt meistens während des normalen Abbaus gefunden wurde. Und hier davor, das war eben diese sogenannte Forschungssprengung, und da hat man mal die Verteilung. Da sieht man, dass die Artefakte halt hauptsächlich im Umfeld von diesen Feuerstellen gewesen sind. Und dann in diese Richtung, wo wir eben waren, dort nimmt dann die Konzentration an Tierknochen immens zu. Also die haben wahrscheinlich ihre Speiseabfälle dann in den Tümpel entsorgt.
Ja.
Da gibt es auch viele angebrannte Tierknochen und so weiter. Und wenn man sich das hier anguckt, hier sind also auch überall viel gebrannte Knochen und sowas mit dabei. Das heißt also, die haben da auch den Knochen zum Teil richtig verbrannt. Also hier steckt auch noch ein Knochen drin. Ja. Man sieht, dass da also die Fundverteilung nicht nur auf eine Schicht so ganz genau konzentriert ist, sondern dass dazwischen auch immer wieder gerade Tierknochen sind. Und es gibt hier oben ist dann zum Beispiel hier nimmt nach da drüben wieder ein bisschen mehr zu.
Was ist jetzt der zeitliche Unterschied zwischen der ersten und der zweiten?
Das ist die spannende Frage. Und wenn man sich hier die Struktur anguckt, ist meine Theorie, dass das nur maximal ein paar Jahre sind.
Ah, okay.
Also man sieht ja hier so eine gewisse Schichtung im Travertin, und da ist eine der Theorien, dass das wirklich hier immer so jahreszeitliche Bänder sind.
Ja.
Also hier so in diesem Horizont, und da kann man hier abschätzen, da wären das vielleicht 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Jahre oder sowas, die dazwischen liegen.
In the evening we went to the Döbritzer Höhlen, there are 3 of them, the Wilde Scheuer, then the Kniegrotte and the Urdhöhle. They are arranged along a limestone cliff. On the right side you see the Wilde Scheuer. We went up a path and across the meadow to this site, and then you have to go down a small path to the Kniegrotte into the woods. And even further down to the left here, you would then reach also the Urdhöhle. This is the type of landscape where modern humans, when they first entered Central Europe, maybe 45,000 years ago, would end up. Not exactly here in these sites, but in the site of Ranis, which is not far away from these. Here in these 3 sites, we have evidence for modern humans in much later periods, 30,000 years later, in the Magdalenian period. They left their mark in the layers of this period. It's easy to imagine an Ice Age environment as you walk along this limestone cliff, encountering the different caves where people dwelt. So this is the place where people lived who produced a whole range of artifacts like the harpoon, the so-called owl, and this bone with complex markings. Thanks for watching this video. I hope to see you next time.